what's up guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing an alternate history. This is going to be my first alternate history, maybe even on my playlists. But if you want to do it, if you want me to do it, watching this video is going to be appreciated. So I've heard lots of people talking about Kaiserreich, which I want to do something like that. I don't know if it's the exact topic, so let's get on. So the start of the war, the German Empire was facing many enemies, such as Russia, France, and the British. So how could the German Empire possibly pull off such a how could the German Empire possibly beat such powerful empires? Although the lead military power, there's more to it. Naval dominance. They sought to build a navy just as big, if not bigger, than the British Navy. So they got started. They did not want to do They did not want to lose this, for if they lost this, there would have been no nothing for them. They would have lost. They lost, the treaty would be unimaginable. So the German Empire gave it its best. If we know today, if they would have surrendered at this point, would they have beat them? Would they have, not have that much of a treaty? Probably, but they're gonna have to give up a lot of land. The Germans' ally of Austria-Hungary was not doing too good against Serbians and Russians. As they were lacked of industrialization and didn't have the manpower to defeat the Russians. So, yet they were a big nation. So the Germans first marched into Belgium, activating the British. They did not. That's what happened in real life. But now, what if they went for Russia first? The British will still get into the war sooner than later, but that will buy the Germans time. Very needed time. So, their offensive started. Also, by the way, sorry for the terrible maps. It's not my I'm just trying to get it done with. I could do better, but you know. The Russians stood no chance. No chance to the German might. The Austro-Hungarians, even the Austro-Hungarians defeated the Russians. One problem though. The Serbians were defeating the Russians. And fast. I mean, the Serbians were defeating the Austrians. Germany's plan was that the Serbians would overstretch themselves, but they weren't. This was the failure of the plan. This was the failure of the Hindenburg plan, which I'll just call it. The plan based on defeating Russia while making Serbia overstretched, then encircling the whole army of Serbia, has failed. Or at least half of it has. The other half was better than ever. The Russians were an unstable force too. They could not possibly defeat the Germans without help. Wait. The Russians were falling back, even though their industrial efforts from now was doing pretty good. They still were no match to the Germans. After a little bit, the Russians were ceded to all this. To make it all worse, the Bolsheviks were planning. The Bolsheviks were doing a long-planned revolution. Many of the people of Russia supported the Bolsheviks, and without long, Bolshevik Russia has taken over. The Russians decided just to sign a peace with Germany. This was great news for Germany, who now only need one more front, the French front. France has been pushing into Alsace-Lorraine with accused killing citizens. The French people turned unhappy. The war was no longer in their favor. But little did the French people know, the war never was in their favor. And the Bolsheviks signed a peace with the Germans, the Peace of Brest-Litovsk, which they ceded all of this to Germans. With that front focused, let's focus on the French front. The French would never have surrendered to the Germans. But unrest settled in. The French people. The French people had enough of this war, so they decided to revolt. The French people never had hoped in this war, as they haven't been focusing on their industrial power. Within the amount of time, Paris has been encircled. The French had no choice but to surrender. For the first time since 1871, for the second time in the past 100 years, Paris fell. Paris has fallen. German might stood unbeatable in Europe. Or did it? To find out, you're gonna have to watch part 2. Part of Kaiserreich. The Germans now stood victorious and couldn't be defeated. So that was the first part of Kaiserreich lore. I will probably do mine sometime later. My next video might come out when I have 25 subscribers, okay? Or I might just upload this video when I have 25 subscribers. I don't know. So Poland, Lithuania, and Ruthenia are now released. Stay tuned next time for the Russian Revolution, the Syndicalist revolutions, and the rise or fall of German Empire. See ya.